I'm afraid your time is up. I hope you've had a fruitful hour and that you've had some good discussions. So here's a chance for us to all hear what was discussed in the different round tables. So we look forward to hearing some of the, nuggets of wisdom that were discussed in these groups. So I'm going to start off over here, I think, with number one. Is this packaging readiness for Industry 4.0? Where is this one? Is it here? Okay, I couldn't see the sign. And is it going to be Ramesh, Selvarajan? Yeah. To give us a roundup from this session on packaging readiness for Industry 4.0. Thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. So as a group, we just started off with a briefing as to what Industry 4.0 is and in which stage we are in at the moment with respect to the gap between what is visualized as an Industry 4.0 situation and where we are now. There were some different points of view that we are not yet reached a level where the Industry 4.0 is in position. So it's too early to think about the packaging readiness itself. So the views were that it could be probably about 10 years from now, by which time the Industry 4.0 is in place and then packaging readiness is thought about. So the conclusion is that we are not, the packaging readiness is not there at the moment for Industry 4.0.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, that definitely leads to more discussion, I think, and something we should cover in the final session, in the big debate coming up about being ready for 4.0, because it's going to be here faster than we think, I think, and packaging, I'm sure, will play an important role with that. Now we're going to look at logistics benchmarking, current standards and future needs, which was led by Vegard Synnes, Head of Key Accounts at CDC Group. Vegard.
Thank you, Louis. So we talked about logistic benchmarking in India, mainly. We started off by looking at what are the current benchmarks you're operating by here, and we talked about service, the type of service offered, structure, company structure, particular strengths, location of your operations, service level, and of course, the rate you can offer. We started looking at what we're doing today and what we need to do in the future in order to better benchmark. And one thing that we will kind of all agree on and is that the data, the information that we need to effectively benchmark today is there. We have everyone here has pretty decent IT systems. Internet of Things are coming more and more. There's more and more connectivity, so the data is there. The challenge now is to gather all this data in one place, get a big picture, and from that big picture, find the right way to actually use this data to set the relevant benchmarks. We also talked about how everyone needs to work together to find mutual solutions, be that between government and the industry, or between the service provider and the service buyer. And in the end, when we get to the point where we're on a mutual page, we have the data we need to break this down, we need to set up the good KPIs, we need to find the standardized solutions, but which can be flexible and be fitted into specific situations, and then find the right KPIs for each part of the operation, each company, each country, each industry, and then use this to get everything into action.
Thank you very much, Vegard. And obviously the use of data to help with the benchmarking and the improving data that's out there is going to play an important part. Next we're looking at, we're jumping a bit now, I think, to Reinventing Distribution Hubs and Networks, which was led by Pankaj Dogra from Wallenius Wilhelmsen Logistics.
Thanks, Louis. We had very interesting discussions on this table. And I think we went through a lot of parameters to actually analyze. And we started off discussing on the location, the access, went on to logistics constraints, the capacity imbalance between north and south, and of course the varying dealer inventory levels, in terms of fast moving models, slow moving models, and which are the right candidates for storing in the hub. And we found out that managing costs will be a big challenge, because when you look at the basic transportation, which is first leg from factory to hub, is going to be more expensive than the total leg, which is factory to dealer. On top of that, you also add the hub costs, which is handling plus insurance. And then you add the final leg cost, which is the hub to the dealer. So managing costs will be a big challenge. I think in terms of the final analysis, we also realize that GST will be added for all the services that you provide, whether it's transportation, whether it's insurance, or the handling at the hub. So that further adds on to the cost. Insurance cost will be pretty huge, because you'll have insurance for the 2 transportation legs, and you'll have insurance at the hub for fire and peril and for the other hazards. So initially at this stage, the cost looks like a big challenging factor. Also in terms of OEM participation, at this point it's not very clear whether OEMs would like to collaborate or would they like to have their own strategies in terms of the storage at hub. So we don't have the clarity, but it seems that we'll have to do a detailed analysis on cost to establish the benefits and whether it's a feasible situation in terms of creating hubs. And that has to be established through a detailed cost analysis. So at this point, it's a little fluid, but we would need some more data analytics to finally see where we are once the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, another interesting discussion. Who would have thought cost would come into it? Now we're going to be looking at exploring new markets, frontiers and opportunities, which was led by Satish Lakkaraju, Chief Commercial Officer from Agility.
I think in terms of our team size, we must have been the smallest, but we had one of the exciting discussions, I would say, because we had the subject exploring new markets, frontiers and opportunities. For the last 2 days that we've been deliberating on collaboration, and second is the LSPs have been talking about shrinking margins and investment really happening. And I think the group said, look, Africa is an opportunity which really exists because it's a large 47 countries with a mix of very rich people to people who really need the cars and the rest of them. And our natural partners for India is ASEAN, which is Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and the neighboring countries. So we said that's an opportunity which we can probably more explore. And some parts of Middle East, which we discussed in the whole discussion. While we discussed these and we said how we should go about, we also had realized that some of the OEMs have already gone into Africa at some point of time and have learned the hard way, as well as what are the challenges that come up in Africa as well. So this was the basis on which the whole discussion was led around, and we said, look, we've been talking, but after this conference, what do we do really to take this discussion one level forward? One thing we realized is that it's time that we have OEMs plus LSPs plus the authorities from government and rest of them, and we form a committee which really takes these initiatives further to the right authorities, because some are to do with statutory compliances in terms of how we drive this, because India still has this challenge of you can't do domestic and international on the same vessel as far as the RoRo is concerned, as one of the challenges that we can actually see to collaborate. So how that can be done if it's being done? What are the good practices that are currently prevailing in Europe which we can really copy from that? Because we had Mark from Hoglines who said there's some good practices, we could take it. So to conclude, what we said is that after this conference, probably some of the OEMs plus the LSPs plus other authorities involved who are present in this room and who are not also present in the room, we constitute a committee in terms of understanding how we can take one country. Maybe we may not do all the 47 countries at one point of time, at this point of time. But there are few countries where really we can do a lot. There are suggestions that, for example, we know what is an OEM looking at is what is his landing cost when a car arrives at, say, Durban or Johannesburg. So in this whole supply chain, if you see, one is the manufacturing, getting it into the port, loading into the port, arrival there, what are the infrastructure available. That visibility through collaboration, that means if say an X company wants to work with it, then we involve including the port authorities at the destination to arrive at an end-to-end cost to make it really transparent and visible. So I think that's what we said is an opportunity that is lying before us. It's up to us now whether how we take it forward from here, but surely Africa was one that we thought should be explored. So that was what came out of the whole discussion.
Thank you very much. Again, another interesting discussion. There's huge opportunities within India for the automotive and logistics industries, and for sure from India there's some great opportunities as well. And now we're going to look at the role of different transport modes in the emerging finished vehicle distribution scenario, which was led by Umesh Bhanont, the MD of APL VASCOR.
Thank you, Louis. We discussed different transport modes in the emerging finished vehicle distribution scenario. We talked of a road mode that has been there for years, a recently developed rail mode, a nascent coastal mode, and a developing inland waterways mode. We identified 4 variables which would perhaps guide OEMs and logistics providers to use different modes over time. Quality, which is related also to the numbers of handlings, that is one. Cost, the ever-present important variable, another one. Third is related to the frequency of sailing and the volumes that you can move. And last is the delivery security. There are others, but then we focused basically on these 4. Now coming to short sea shipping or coastal shipping, the group felt that in today's scenario, with the models of distribution being factory to dealer, and especially with GST still to be there, coastal shipping would be a winner if there could be frequent sailings, for which perhaps different cargoes would need to be mixed. That means you'll have to carry cars and other automobiles, or cars and other automobiles and other types of cargoes. So maybe next time round, the Sikal vessel can carry Hyundai's cars and Daimler's trucks on its next voyage to Gujarat. In a scenario maybe 5 years from today, where you have larger production and bigger hubs, maybe this is the mode that will be feeding, stock transfers. As far as rail is concerned, yes, it can, it can fit into today's distribution model of factory to dealer. It can also be useful as far as feeding a hub is concerned. We also felt that both these modes are going to be impacted a lot by government policies. As far as road is concerned, it is a great unifier as far as all modes are concerned, because without road, all these other alternatives are basically islands. Now, there would have to be, we felt, a paradigm shift as far as road is concerned, so that movement in shorter radii becomes favorable. In particular, change in the compensation patterns of the road running crews, and maybe some clauses for penalizing detention, both at the dealers' ends and at the OEM's ends. That is something which would make shorter hauls favorable. Finally, all modes would need the blessings of the OEMs. They would have to nurture different modes, which, of course, very happily they have been for the past several years. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Umesh. Again, another interesting discussion looking at the different modes that are used and necessary for India. Again, we're going to jump a little bit now and go to the discussion on overcoming challenges and driving change in the automotive industry, which was led by a North American whose president, the first 3 letters of his president's name are TRU, but then DEAU. So,
Thank you, Louis, for all of that information. Overcoming challenges and driving change in the automotive logistics industry, that was our topic. Somehow we had some sort of analogy between a chicken and an egg and hatching it from the inside or the outside, and I got lost somewhere along the way. Anyhow, so we just talked about what is the objective with all of this. Why are we doing it in the first place? And it was quickly pointed out that we're trying to raise the bar on quality and reduction of cost. I think that was mentioned as well. And so what's essential for us to be successful if we're going to take on an initiative to achieve those goals? One of the key points is there is no room for mistrust in stakeholders. So if there's any mistrust at the onset, you may as well stop right there, I think. So sincerity of stakeholders, very important. Persistence, never give up. Assess, reassess, adjust, meet until it succeeds. And so, and it's interesting, the VASCOR APL example was brought up at this table about the persistence and perseverance of that group. So that's a good example. Not all ideas work out. Be prepared for it. Some investment will be lost. Face it. Don't whine about it. But there is a potential gain. That's what we're all doing it for. And it should be pre-agreed upon, perhaps who benefits, how much they benefit. Perhaps everybody benefits equally. That should be established early on in the game. Then the last little point I'm going to make, an example that was brought up was that Tata said they could build a vehicle for $2,000. The Nano could be built for $2,000, and they actually succeeded at building it for $2,000, but the product was a failure. And I'm not very familiar with this, but what the whole point was is everybody can learn from every failure. As a matter of fact, the right road and the end result is built on a series of failures. So we learn what not to do and why not to do it. So that's the conclusion for our group.
Thank you very much, Bill. That was Bill from CTM, for those who didn't know him. And it was interesting, the discussion about the chicken and the egg. But the most important thing, is it the egg, is it the chicken? Should it then become tikka, or should it become chicken curry? That's the most important thing. The next discussion was building value through added services, which was led by Jeffco. So. Jeffco is not this.
Good afternoon. I am Ravindra Kumar from Global Supply Chain Group, and I am just situation leader. Because there's no leader, so I just took over. And or you can say that we are like leaderless organization. So, so yeah, so I'll be talking from point of view the logistics service provider, and this all our honest feedback. You will not get any high-fi funda like Harvard Business or MIT Sloan or like that. So I just asked my my team member, and they just gave this this value. The topic is building value through added services. So it is a very generic topic, and what we have come that value means value through by adding human values, process value, ethical value, and on which I will come later, then environmental value, legal value, profitable value, elimination of non-value added services, and collaborative efforts of, involving vendor as a partner and not using their services as just for cost reduction. So the one suggestion was given that this car trailer, they have now they have come with the length 18.75 meter, and OEM were using the car trailer which has the length of 18 to 22 meters. Now the point comes that even most of the OEM, they are aware of this fact that length of the trailer is not legally correct, but still they are using those trailers to transport their goods. So it was the one suggestion has come, the when you value a vendor, you should first see whether he is legally compliant or not. Once the first matrix is legal, after legal, whether his technical competence is there, then the service, then you compare the cost. So that is one suggestion has come, because the guy who use the legally compatible resources will have certain cost added, and the guy who's slightly you can say manipulating or adjusting will have slightly cost advantage. So that is one suggestion has come. When you want to build, you have to build through your vendor, through your service provider, and treat him as a partner in your collaborative effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another interesting and thoughtful presentation there from that group. And now another very important discussion is looking at production logistics for Industry 4.0, which was led by TCI.
Thank you, Louis. My name is Ashish Roy. I'm from TCI. Actually, in our group, we have OEMs, Tier 1, and one from different industry also. So we made a wish list, what should be there for Industry 4.0. So no line stoppage, transparent real-time information, complete traceability of part till its shelf life, no additional cost in the long run. Government should also be ready for the Industry 4.0, agile and faster supply chain, make to order, 100% utilization of fleet, no empty running, collaboration between stakeholders, autonomous decision-making process, and all should be future-ready. So these are wish list. If we go how this look like, production logistics will look like for Industry 4.0. Production logistics in the industry will be driven by the rapid development of internet. There will be a fusion of real-time and virtual world. There will be close relation between IT and manufacturing and SCM to ensure business is future-ready. A network of IT system will be embedded in the production and logistics process internally and internet in general. Automation and integration in the industry will be faster, which will create more intelligent monitoring and control system, leading to optimized supply chain. So this list is long. I will not read through. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, I hope you found the discussions and your own particular roundtables interesting. The point made about carrying on, firstly, this should be the case for the whole conference, but maybe particularly for the roundtables. Please don't forget what you've discussed here. Let's see if we can carry it forward. And if there's anything we at Automotive Logistics Group can do, whether it's articles in our magazines, news stories, or anything to do with any of the points that you've discussed in the roundtables, and in fact anything you've discussed over the whole conference, please let us know. Our job is I don't see our job as organizing conferences or printing magazines. Our job is providing a service for the industry, for communication. So any way we can do that, we'd be delighted to do so. But I hope you found this hour, just over an hour, really useful and beneficial for your companies, for individuals. And so please join us for the coffee break. Grab a quick coffee, some snacks, make your final visit to the sponsor stands because they've got some very important information on there for you. But ideally, we'd like to be back in for about 15, 20 minutes to start the final discussion, which includes Honda, Hyundai, Ford, and TCI. So and me, which is more important. So as Amlan would say, we will have the most important intellectuals from the automotive logistics industry globally, plus 3 car makers. Thank you.